Ladies and gentlemen, I remind you, this is one of the first topics that we've had in grade 11 that requires all of your knowledge. Okay? Everything you've done in math is in this little section. Algebra, radicals, factoring, all kinds of stuff. Okay? So, because it's so daunting, I'm going to take a couple of days to do it. I know it's Friday. That's why I'm not going hardcore. I'm only going to do the first two that are actually fairly easy. The principles still apply. But I want to remind you of a couple of things first. One, you need to know how to solve a regular equation. Now, all of you are like, duh, Myers, of course we can. And I'll write one up here, and you'll all tell me the answer right away without writing anything down. And that's cool. I'm okay with that. But we're going to take a second. I'm going to show you why that's a bad thing to do. Everybody good? All right. So the first thing we got to do is we got to remember how to do algebra. If you don't feel you need to write this down, don't write it down. Later on, you will be wanting to write stuff down, but this is cool if you don't. So a quick review of algebra. What's the answer? 2. Why? Wrong. Because you isolate the variable. It is not because 7 plus 2 equals 9. Every kid says that, right? Which is wonderful. So then, if it's because 7 plus 2 equals 9, then all of you should immediately be able to tell me this answer. What's the answer? Exactly. So it is not because 7 plus 2 is 9. Why is it?
You have to isolate the variable.
It is because 9 minus 7 equals x. That is why you can do this. All right? Now, every single one of you wants to do that question in your head. Every single one of you can do that question in your head. And every single one of you would refuse to show work on that question. You absolutely would refuse. You would say, I don't need to, screw you. And I would say, great kid, you're awesome. Now, tell me what this answer is. Because it's the exact same principles as this. And every one of you would be hard-pressed to do that right now without showing any work. Every one of you. I don't care how smart you think you are. Now, the reason I'm being a dink about this is because of the first part of this saying. Because you think you can do these easy ones without writing anything down, when you get to these ones, you get screwed over. So I'm going to say it again. I don't care how easy you think the work is. Show it. So when you get to the tough ones, you can do them. Is everybody good? All right? So just to remind you, all of you maybe do this question. One second, I'm thinking. All of you should be able to do that question in green in a couple of moments. I don't want to show you how to do it. I want to see what you're bringing to this algebra party. I should do attendance while we're doing this. Has everybody got that written down who's bothering to do it? Okay. Ooh, I almost forgot to stop recording when everybody's private attendance stuff just came up. More than one way to do the question, of course. But the way I would do the question would be to move this 10 over here. So I would get 3x plus 7 equals 6x plus 12, minus 8. Then I would distribute that. 3x plus 21 equals 6x minus 8. Then I move the 6 over there, the 21 over there, and I do my business. Right? Good. Okay. Everybody can do algebra, right? Oh, yeah. Plus 10. Yeah, so I was right the first time. It was 12. What a dummy head. Plus 12. And then I'd move it back and blah, 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 blah. Everybody can do it. Good. That's where we stand. All right. So to solve radical equations, and I'm going to do this at the bottom of the page because I printed this page weirdly. I should have left white space here. So I'm going to go down to the bottom here. I'm going to draw a line. And it's very, very simple. It's algebra that you already know what to do. All right? So step 1 is isolate not the variable, isolate the radical. All right? What does isolate the radical mean? Oh, wait. Isolate the radical because sometimes there's more than one. In the first page that we're doing today, there's only one. So isolate the radical. Step 2, eliminate the radical. How do we eliminate a radical? It's just like rationalizing the denominator, right? We rationalize by squaring, cubing, etc. Yeah? Third thing, once the radical's gone, we're going to solve for x by isolating. Now, does it always have to be x? Of course not. And step 4, and this is absolutely key. None of you ever do it, but you have to do it in this unit. You must. Mrs. Bad Crumble Cloud. Highlight. Underline. Star. Exclamation point. Upside down exclamation point if you are from a Spanish-speaking place. You must check your answer back in the original equation. Okay? And you're going to see why in a second. So there's your 4 steps. But let's be honest, those 4 steps, I didn't even really need to teach you, did I? Because if I look at this very first question, obviously we want to end up with x by itself, right? So we have to plow through that 5. Then we have to plow through the square root. Then we have to plow through that -1. Because that's what would get us to. Then we have to get rid of that 2. You didn't even need me to show it to you, did you? Because you all know some algebra. So even if I didn't show it to you, what would be the logical first step here? Remove the 5, right? Because we want to get to the x. So if I remove the 5, now we're in grade 11. Can I just do this? 2x minus 1 equals 12 minus 5. Okay? Can I go one step further and write 7? Are we okay with that? I don't need to do that grade 8 thing where we do this, do I? Even though I told you to show work, right? If I even did that, we're cool, right? I'll write minus 5 there and then I'm good, right? That makes good sense. That's algebra, right? Nothing weird there. Now, what am I going to do next to get to x? What's in the way of x? the radical, right? So I got how do I get rid of a square root? I square it, right? If I square this side, what must I do to this side? Why? Yeah, or it's not equal anymore, yeah? I should be color coding this, but I forget the colors I wrote at the bottom, so green was isolate the radical. I know that. So step 1 was isolate the radical. 2x minus 1 equals 7. And then what did I use? Red to eliminate the radical. So in red, square, square. So what? Here's where you're going to screw up. What does this left side become? It just becomes 2x minus 1. It's not a conjugate situation because this whole thing is the base. Does everybody understand? All right. And what is that going to equal? 49. Everybody good? Yeah. So the next color was probably blue. Solve for x by isolating x. So I'm going to move that over. 2x equals 50. Divide by 2. X equals 25. Yeah? Everybody's good to there, right? Okay. Now, the last thing. We must check our answer. So, we must go back here, and I'm going to show you why in a minute. 5 plus, what is 2 times 25? 50 minus 1. 5 plus the root of 49 equals 12. What is the root of 49? Is that true? So we are okay. X equals 25. Is everybody good? Now we get into the wrinkles. The first wrinkle is this word right here. What does the word restriction mean in English? You can't do it. Everybody understand? Right? There are restrictions to radical equations. The square root of anything must be greater than 0, yes? So you can't have a negative there, correct? So, this x, in this equation, what is this x? What is the radicand in our first equation? 2x minus 1, right? So, 2x minus 1 must be greater than 0. Because I can't do a square root of a negative number, correct? So, 2x must be greater than 1. X must be greater than 1/2. Is our answer for x, which was 25, is it greater than 1/2? So we are okay. Does everybody understand? Now, some of you will be saying to me, or in your head, well, how could it ever not be? And I'm going to show you that eventually. Okay? So let's look at this second one. What makes it different?
There's 2 variables.
There's 2 variables. Absolutely correct. So we got to get to them, right? Which is the easier variable to deal with right now? N or the 5 minus n? N, because there's nothing else around it, yeah? So I'm going to get the radical isolated first, because I want that out of here. Okay? So watch. Some of you will move this n automatically, because the radical will be isolated. But that leaves you with a negative, right? And you guys are kind of poopy at negatives. So I would move all of this over here to become what? 5 minus n. And then I would move this over here to become what? N plus 7. Now I'm in easy shape, right? Everybody cool? Now what should I do? What bothers me now? I know how to deal with that in my sleep. So what bothers me now? The radical. Let's get rid of it. Square, and I end up with 5 minus n, yeah? Easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? What has to happen on this side now? I got to do the same thing. Is it n squared plus 49? No. What is it? N squared plus 14n plus 49. See? You have to bring everything you've ever done here. Now what? Now it's weird now, right? So I want to isolate n, yeah? Well, I got some n's there and some n's there. I got too many n's, so what should I do? I should get all the n's together, just like in grade 9, right? We'll collect our like terms. So, you guys can all do that. If this n comes over here, what's going to happen to it? It's going to become positive n, right? And I'm going to have n squared plus 15n. What am I going to do with that 5? I'm going to move it too, and I'm going to show you why. If I don't move it, this is weird, isn't it? Okay, so if I move that 5, though, what do I get? I get minus 5 here, right? So now I've got plus 44 equals 0, right? Now, in algebra, am I looking for n squareds? What am I looking for? Single n's, right? Remember, you bring everything you know to the party. Can you do something with that will show me single n's? What? Starts with an F and ends with an R. Factor it. How do I factor that? Adds to 15 and multiplies to 44. What is it? N plus 11 and n plus 4. Right? Now, what I'm about to show you might be new to some of you. What math is happening there? Multiply, right? This answer is 0, yes? How do I multiply to get 0? Yeah, you can. Anything times 0 is 0, yes? Right? So, if this factor, n plus 11 equals 0, would this whole thing be 0? Yes, it would, right? What if I had n plus 4 equals 0? Would that make this 0? So how many answers do I have here? 2. Remember how I said you have to check all your answers? Because in this case, we're going to get 2 answers. So what are they? What can n be? Negative 11 or negative 4. Sorry. Does everybody understand why right there? Yes. Because if I have negative 11 plus 11, I get 0, right? And negative 11 plus 4 is negative 7. 0 times negative 7 is 0, yes? If I use negative 4, that is 0. Negative 4 plus 11 is 7. 7 times 0 is 0. Is everybody cool with why we have 2 answers? So now, we got to check them both. Right? So let's check them. I'm going to come back up to the top, and I can check in my head, can't I? Negative 11 minus the root of, what's 5 minus 11? 16 equals negative 7. Negative 11 minus 4, does it equal negative 7? No. So is this allowed as an answer? No. Everybody, that's why you have to check. So now let's check negative 4. What is negative 4 minus the square root of 5 minus minus 4? What's 5 minus minus 4? 9. What's the square root of 9? 3. Is negative 4 minus 3 negative 7? Yes. So that is our only answer. Does everyone understand? We're going to talk about why in a second. There's one last thing I need to check. What is that expression not allowed to be? It can be 0. 0 has a square root. It can't be a negative, right? So 5 minus n must be greater than 0, yes? Everyone agrees? So negative n must be greater than negative 5, right? So that means n must be less than positive 5. Because when I divide by a negative, I have to switch that sign. That's from grade 9 math. Remember how I said every single thing you've ever needed is in this section? There's another thing from way back when. Is n less than 5 right now? Yes, because negative 4 is less than 5. So are we okay? These are the restrictions that I have done up here. Is everybody cool? Now, like I said, some of you said to me, or thought to me when we were over here, Myers, why do I need to check? I know that algebra worked, right? I can do algebra. I'm in the 11th grade. I know this is 25. Why do I need to check? Because of this. Why did we get 2 answers? What operation in here made our answer go from 1 possible number to 2? What is it we did here that made it happen?
When we created the polynomial.
When we created the polynomial by squaring, right? Don't write this down because you already know it. 25 is simply 25, right? Everyone agree? Okay. So what squared equals 25? 5, right? One answer, agreed? No. What is negative 5 squared? 25. Does everybody see the problem here? Once you take a square root, you are opening yourself up to more than one answer. All right? Now, there's a rule here. When we see this symbol, we are seeking the positive, never the negative. Because it's got a name. I'll talk about it tomorrow when it comes up, or on Monday. Okay? But once we do that squaring, we open ourselves up to 2 answers. Everybody cool? All right. I would like to do one more, then I'm going to let you have. Then we're going to play some games. What do I got to do here? Step 1 isn't anything to worry about. Radical's isolated. So let's get rid of it. What do I do? Square what? Both sides. So I get p squared equals what? 2 minus p. Now I got to solve for p. I got to get p by itself. I got too many p's. So what do I got to do? I want to get them together. P squared plus p minus 2 equals what? 0. Is there something I can do there? Oh, I shouldn't have done that yellow. Yellows are my restrictions. Is there something I can do there? Factor it to what? Multiply to negative 2, add to 1. So what is it? P plus 2, P minus 1, right? So what are my answers for P? You should be able to do that in your head. You should look and see plus 11, plus 4. My answers were negative 11 and negative 4. So what are my answers here? Positive 1 and negative 2. Agreed? Now what do I got to do? I got to check in the original equation, not the squared equation. Because when I square it, that opens me up to two answers, yes? So I got to go back to the original. 1 equals the square root of 2 minus 1. What's 2 minus 1? 1. What's square root of 1? Does 1 equal 1? So is 1 okay? That is a good answer. Let's check negative 2. Negative 2 equals the root of 2 minus minus 2. What's 2 minus minus 2? 4. What's the square root of 4? It's technically 2 and negative 2, isn't it? But we are only looking for what? The positive root. Because, of course, the square root of 4 can't be negative, right? So is negative 2 allowed? No. But I got to make one more check. What do I got to check right there? 2 minus p has to be what? Or 2 minus p isn't allowed to be what? Isn't allowed to be negative. So 2 minus p has to be greater than 0, yes? So negative p has to be greater than negative 2. P has to be less than negative 2. Is p less than negative 2? Yes or no? So do either of these answers technically work? Yes or no?
Or isn't it just supposed to be P is...
Oh, I forgot to switch the sign on both. Is p less than 2?
Yes.
So does it work? Yes. Everybody good? Are we cool to stop there for today? Everybody feels they could do these fairly easy ones? Okay? We're going to do a lot more, don't worry. And on the next page, this is going to be a problem. All right? But we're not going to do that. Is everybody good? All right. I'm going to pause that. Let's play some games. I know a great many of you aren't